Hello everyone, my name is Felipe. I'm a student for the University of San Mateo, and in this case, I try to explain our project. I do the project with my colleague Christian. You will see later of me. And the project is so simple. Is cutleries of totumo. The idea is change the cutleries plastic in United States because this country contaminated so much the water and the rivers, oceans, and seas, and the idea is try to enter the market, and in this video I explained how to do that.
The green economy is very important since it is the generation of business helping the planet to stop contamination itself, which and the use of plastic materials. We are starting with cutlery onward. We would like to be an example for other companies to start using materials that are biodegradable and that meet the objectives of sustainable development. We hope that many companies begin to take into account the sustainable development goals for their products since they are fundamental in this fight against global warming, which in a few years call an all of humanity.
In recent weeks, you may have heard the term green recovery or green economy. As we begin to imagine life beyond coronavirus, the government is setting out major plans to rebuild the country. And what's decided now will impact us for decades to come. But the coronavirus pandemic has shown us what we desperately don't want to go back to: how unequal our society is, how vulnerable we are in times of crises, and how our planet is struggling. A green economy is a way to rebuild the country whilst taking all of this into consideration. So what does it actually mean? A green economy prioritises the health of people and the planet and sees these things as interconnected. It means solar and wind power, not coal, oil or new gas. Better public transport and electric vehicles, not petrol and diesel ones. Energy efficient homes, not cold and drafty ones. And protecting nature and having a circular economy, not a single-use throwaway culture. It would mean massive investment in renewables, housing and transport, and rolling out training programs to skill people up for new jobs in all of these areas. This wouldn't just be good for the planet, it would be good for the economy too. A major investment like this could create hundreds of thousands of jobs. And with the oil and gas industries also now in deep trouble, and renewables being the cheapest way to generate electricity, switching to solar and wind power would be a win-win situation, providing both jobs and clean energy.
So some might say that in order to recover from the coronavirus crisis, what the government needs to do is tighten its belt financially and introduce cuts to spending. Well, that simply isn't true. That's what the government tried to do in 2010 when they introduced austerity policies and slashed public sector spending. Now, not only was that a disaster for our most vulnerable people and our environment and vital services like the NHS, it was also a disaster economically. The best way for the government to rebuild the country is with a green recovery plan that creates hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Not convinced yet? There are major advantages for public health and well-being as well. Better insulated homes are warmer and cut energy bills as well as emissions. Better public transport will mean less commuting time. Cleaner air will help save lives. Coronavirus has shown us that to look after ourselves, we need to start looking after the planet. Because without a major change, we can fully expect to see many more crises like this one. And not just pandemics. The climate emergency is already having devastating consequences for all life on Earth, in particular for the most vulnerable and those that have contributed the least to it. To ignore this would be disastrous and unjust. We have to act now to limit catastrophic climate change and to protect ourselves and the planet we live on. The government is talking a big talk about a green recovery, but we have to make sure that these aren't empty words.
The government's really been starting to talk the talk on the green recovery, which is great. But unfortunately, they have already started to bail out billions of pounds of loans to companies with no strings attached at all. And that is a huge missed opportunity. They do have a big chance now to set us on the right track to a green and fair recovery. So let's hope they turn their warm words into action.
The government needs to make sure that they put people and the planet first and put us on course for a smart green economy, because now is the time to build a better future.
With my partner, try to find a friendly product to the planet. The idea is change the product plastic because the plastic is a so bad material for the environment, and try to implement a different product, a base of totumo. The totumo is a tree generator in Colombia, and the idea is change the Cutleries plastic for our Cutleries a base of totumo. Um, Two, the idea is the people save what is the benefits of use our product, because the people in United States is so consuming. The idea is diminish the consuming in the people because it is so bad for the planet and the environment. The majority of the products uh, trash in the trough, and the idea is no generate for most contamination.
Finding ways to recycle is what we should all do if we want to save the planet, since it is essential to reuse materials and manufacture many products with biodegradable materials. We are happy to know that our cutlery can make a difference and help the planet. We have been analyzing the costs and opportunities of our product in the market, and we noticed that it can be a success, not only for us but for everyone, since helping discontamination is every task.
Asia, a region boasting rich biodiversity and natural resources, dynamic economies, and more than 4 billion people aspiring for a prosperous and secure future, has seen rapid economic growth in recent decades. However, rising populations, growing resource scarcity, energy and food insecurity, and natural disasters made worse by climate change are affecting people across the region, particularly poor and marginalized populations. The message is clear. While millions have been lifted out of poverty, the current growth patterns are unsustainable and inequitable. A new economic model is needed, one that boosts development, reduces poverty, and provides a high quality of life. The solution? Green growth. A green economy is low carbon, resource efficient, and socially inclusive. Many countries across Asia are already transitioning to this new paradigm. Their experience shows that the right policies, knowledge, skills, and incentives can influence behavior and catalyze investments in green businesses and activities. Increasingly, countries are using a low-emission development strategy, or LEDs, as the foundation for achieving green growth. These national strategic frameworks are developed following careful analysis of a nation's unique strengths and challenges. They outline tangible actions integrated across all sectors of the economy to increase efficiency. reduce greenhouse gases, spur economic growth, and increase resilience to the impacts of climate change. Where and how can we translate this vision into reality? Forestry. While planting more trees sounds like a cliché, forests and trees are essential for sustainable development, providing critical services. These ecosystems store carbon, support biodiversity, regulate water flows, and reduce soil erosion. We need to take action now by protecting our forests and peatlands, restoring degraded or cleared forests, stopping illegal logging and forest clearance, and promoting sustainable management of forests. Agriculture. Green growth is fundamental for long-term food security and poverty reduction. Promoting the use of naturally drought-resistant or salt-tolerant plants and other environmentally friendly alternatives can help farmers avoid catastrophic losses and improve their income during dry years. Investing in and promoting organic products, green labels, and ecotourism can create green jobs while maintaining vital ecosystem services such as crop pollination and water purification. Energy. Did you know that energy-efficient buildings can cut energy costs up to 30% or more? Policies that encourage energy efficiency and investments in clean energy can boost innovation, increase profits, and enhance energy security. And supporting small-scale renewable energy projects can help increase energy access for the poor. Transport. Investment in green and affordable transport can not only reduce traffic congestion and air pollution, but also help alleviate poverty. Promoting high-speed rail and bus rapid transit, supporting fuel-efficient and electric vehicles, improving pollution standards, and introducing new biofuels increases green transport options and creates green jobs. Simply put, green growth is smart development. Greening different sectors of the economy as part of a comprehensive lens promotes investment, innovation, and job creation, which sustains growth and provides new economic opportunities. Governments, businesses, civil society, and individuals all have a role to play. What will you do? What is your role? Let's work together for a sustainable future. For more information on LEDs and green growth in Asia, visit www.asialeds.org.
Next, I show you some videos about the environment and the importance of recycling. Please pay close attention to the videos because in these videos explain uh, some things about what is your habits and what is your change habits if you want help the planet.
What actually happens to the stuff you put in the recycling bin? I've always been curious, so I decided to collect the recycling from our office and bring it to a recycling plant to find out. Follow me, we're going to find out the life of our recyclables as they go to a recycling plant. When I got to Sims Recycling Plant in Brooklyn, I found a huge warehouse where 800 tons of recyclables from all over New York are dropped off by barge and truck every day. The plant was built in 2013 and it is state-of-the-art. It handles materials like metals, glass, and hard plastics. And after those materials are dropped off, they're sorted.
So we take all of those unsorted recyclables and we're pushing it through our processing system, which is almost all automatic. It's about 2.5 miles worth of conveyor belts, magnets, cameras, all sorts of other machines dedicated to just sorting out different materials.
The sorting machine is very high tech and sorts 14 kinds of materials, like glass, aluminum, cartons, and different types of plastic. Once enough of a material is collected, it's compressed into a 1,000 to 1,500 pound block called a bale. After the bales are sorted, they're sold to third-party companies. For example, a bale of aluminum might sell for $800. Buyers then take that raw material, clean and process it, and turn it into something new. This process saves way more energy than mining for virgin materials. With the same amount of energy that it takes to make 1 can of new aluminum, you can make 20 cans from recycled aluminum. And using 1 ton of recycled plastic saves 16 barrels of oil.
You have to think about all this stuff as coming from the earth, right? There's natural resources, oil, and all these plastics. And once you put it in the trash, it's going to a landfill or it's going to an incinerator. You're never going to use that material again. So it's super important we've got limited resources on this planet to use these kinds of materials as much as we can in the best ways possible.
Despite the great setup at Sims, there are a lot of issues with recycling. First of all, Americans kind of suck at it. According to the EPA, about 75% of all of our waste is actually recyclable, yet our recycling rates hang around 34% nationally. That basically means that only a third of every single thing we use and throw out every day is making it to the recycling bin. And don't get me started with New Yorkers. We only recycle 17% of our waste.
This is a garbage can right outside our office. You can see there's paper and there's some cans in there, cups. All of these things are recyclable. And they're in the trash right when there's a recycling bin right next door.
Only about 50% of recyclables in New York City are getting recycled right now. And I think that's largely a result of maybe a lack of public education, the fact that the rules have changed over time. Maybe some people just don't care enough or don't know why they should care. And I think all of those kind of issues can really be addressed through education.
For their part, Sims offers daily educational tours of their plant in an effort to boost our low recycling rates. Low rates aren't the only issue, though. Sam also told me about another problem called wish cycling. That's when people put trash into the recycling bin, hoping it can be recycled, when in fact it cannot.
I would say it's about 10 to 13% of what we get is not something we want to receive. Those kinds of materials are maybe extra plastic bags, plastic film, maybe little bits of food scraps mixed in with those containers.
Wish cycling wastes a lot of energy and fuel because items are shipped to a plant like Sims, sorted, and then eventually just sent to the dump. I wanted to see if my coworkers and I were guilty of any wish cycling, so I convinced Sam to go through our bag with me. We're not wearing gloves because, is that okay with you?
Yeah, we do this every day. So
Okay.
it's fine.
By looking through our bag, I learned we made some mistakes, like putting paper towels in the recycling bin. They're actually compostable. He also told me important tips, like cutting down on plastic straws.
A lot of sort of single-use disposables that are really small, it's better to use less of these than to even try to recycle them because a lot of small plastics sort of fall through the cracks in the system.
Reduce.
Exactly.
Sam told me that another huge misconception about recycling are plastic bags.
We get about 18 tons of plastic bags here every single day. Ideally, we would be getting nothing.
Plastic bags are a low-quality kind of plastic, which makes them really hard to resell. For example, in Sim's case, they actually have to pay another company to come to pick up the bags and recycle them elsewhere. On top of that, the bags get stuck in the machine and can break it. So, if you want to recycle your plastic shopping bags, go to a plastic drop-off at a retailer like Whole Foods. Or better yet, skip the plastic bags altogether and bring a reusable bag. It's important to note that every city is different, so look up what your city's recycling plant accepts. Sims is one of the most inclusive recycling plants on the East Coast, and it accepts more materials than many recycling plants. But Sam told me to abide by the general rule. If it's a hard plastic, put it in the recycling bin. Seeing the 800 tons of recyclables at Sims was insane, but that's nothing compared to the 12,000 tons of trash residents of New York City throw out every day. I know seeing that made me more conscious of what I use every day, and it inspired me to cut down on single-use plastics. But let's be real, plastic is still part of our everyday lives, and it's hard to avoid it completely. However, I've realized we can have a say in where it ends up, and while we're at it, help our environment and create a more sustainable future.
The problem that we try to attack is contamination. The idea is that we can reduce plastic waste in some parts of the United States, since it is a country that has a lot of consumption and generates large plastic waste that ends in seas and oceans. which it is very harmful to marine space and to global warming. We focus a lot on plastic materials because they almost always end up in the water of some beach. That's we want to generate a positive impact and make people aware that we can like taking care of the planet be changing some purchasing habits.
Finally, I want to thank you for paying attention. I hope you can put in practice a lot of that knowledge about recycling that we try to give you, and together we can help the planet. Uh, we want to generate a green economy and be an example for many other companies. I hope you like our product and you can support us. Thank you very much.